Hello and welcome to the beach where I'm going to be making a new moon mandala, as today is the new moon. So I'm not going to talk too much because I think you won't be able to hear my voice very well over the sound of the waves and the wind. It's quite a windy afternoon, and as you can probably see, the shadows are lengthening. This is a northeast facing beach, and so the eastern sky, obviously the sun goes down and in the west, and the shadows are cast over the beach very quickly. And in fact, where I'm going to make the mandala is just down here, and it is in shadow, but as the tide comes in, and it's out a long way because it's the new moon, it will wash my mandala away, and that is the idea. The only thing that won't be washed away, because I should be taking it home, is my special little lantern here, which I should be lighting in the middle. This is the plan, and hopefully do all this before the tide comes in. So wish me luck. I'll have to hold the phone, so I'll be putting it down to do the different layers, and then I'll talk you through it a little bit. So, by the way, also the things down here are the things I've just collected all of these from the beach today, just now. So the idea for me was not to pre-plan, not to know what I was going to find. Sometimes there's lots of one thing, and sometimes there's lots of another. On the beach, every tide is different, which is one of the things I absolutely love about it. And today, well, we'll see, because I'll be arranging the things, and I don't know what's going to happen. It might not work at all, but I want to do this on the new moon because it's a time for setting intentions, and it's a very meditative act to make a mandala. It really does make you focus on exactly on what you're doing, and it's a very calming and nurturing thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do now. Also, I should also say I've also taken off my shoes and socks, which isn't that unusual a thing to do on the beach at all, but I'm doing that specifically because here at Happisburgh is where the oldest human footprints were found, embedded, that's probably not the right word technically, but anyway, imprinted on the rock here, on the what's called the pavement, which has got nothing to do with city streets, but it's to do with the type of rock formation here at Happisburgh. They found the oldest human footprints found outside of Africa, I think, or certainly in Northern Europe, up to 1 million years old, men, women and children who would have walked along the great estuary that once ran here. So with that in mind, I'm working barefoot, and I'm just going to start. So I'll switch off now, make a start, and then come back to you. Well, I've decided to put oyster shells around the first circle, around the lantern, and I just thought they were, well, I loved them anyway, but the way they're black and white, the contrast between those colours in them makes me think of the way the moon goes from dark to full. So I thought that it would be appropriate for the first circle here. And there are 7 of them, and 7 is a very magical number. I haven't counted anything as I've collected it. I just picked things up as I walked along the beach and back. So now I'm going to put 4 half razor shells for the 4 quarters, just to give some structure to the mandala. So here they are. I really don't often find razor shells on the beach here. They're really unusual. I don't know why they've turned up today, but they have. So I found a few, and I'm going to put them here. There we are. So that's how it's looking at the moment. Now I'm going to leave you again for a moment while I find the next part of the mandala. Well, I've just finished placing the things I found into the mandala, and I'm quite pleased with it. It's not as if you were collecting things over time and wanted to make it really beautiful, you would not necessarily make it like this, because there are all sorts of ways aesthetically you could improve it. But I just made it from what I had, what I could find. You can see the footprints all around it, which are my footprints. It's not perfectly pristine there either. Here's the sea getting closer. The tide is coming in. And what we're going to do next is light the lantern. So I'll just talk you through what we've got here at the moment till I light the lantern. So the lantern obviously is in the middle, and I'll use my lantern with a blue and green glass for the sea. Then we've got the oyster shells, as I said before, 7 oyster shells, and each quarter, before we come to the long razor shells here, I've had four little treasures, so I've put one of them at each of the quarters, and they are just 2 little bits of shell. There's one here, and one at the other side down there. Little bits of baby whelk shell, and then there's a beautiful red stone there, and a beautiful yellow stone there. So I've put them so they have a special place, and then beyond them I've got the four half razor shells, and then between those I've got pieces of seaweed, which obviously look very lovely when they're floating around in the sea. They don't look very much when they're covered in sand and just little heaps on like they are now in the dry. But I imagine how lovely they'll look when the sea starts to carry them away, as it will do before long at all. And then just at the very outer edge I've put pieces of quartz. There are I suppose there are 12 pieces of white quartz, which is a kind of very special stone in lots of cultures, and some of our stone circles. The stone seems to have been chosen because it had seams of quartz running through it. We know in physics it has electromagnetical properties. I don't know. Anyway, it's used for powering all sorts of things, quartz, like quartz batteries, quartz watches, etc. And that's just in physics, let alone what power it might have spiritually. So there it is, protecting the outer sides of the circle. Now what I'm going to do next is leave you again while I light the lantern, and then we'll just have a last look at it. Well, it's not easy lighting a candle on a windy beach, I can tell you from experience, but it's light now. I had to go inside. There's some big rocks here they've put as a beach sea defence. They don't look very natural, but they do have a purpose, a useful one in protecting the land, but also they do give little sheltered bits for lighting candles, which I'm sure wasn't their intention. Anyway, talking of intentions, here is the new moon mandala, full of intention for the next part of the lunar cycle. So I hope you all have a lovely new moon if you mark such, and even if you don't, I hope you enjoyed a little taste of the beach here this afternoon. And the tide's coming in fairly quickly now. To show you, there it goes, not far away. But I'm going to let the things I've laid out just float away or be moved around by the sea, and I will take the lantern home with me. I'm not going to give that to the sea, but I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes and just have a little think and set some intentions. So hope to see you again in the next video, and if you do anything special for the new moon, let me know in the comments underneath. Thank you for joining me. Bye.